Keep your pants on for this one.
I'll try.
Do his best.
We'll see how far I can go before I just really want to rip them off.
Just wrench him off.
I mean, seriously, the amount of sellotape on them now must keep them together. And it must be really hard to get them on and off. You can't take them off now, can you?
No, I can't.
Because they kind of like shrunk a bit around the thighs.
It's quite tight.
There was a face of enjoyment then when you said that.
I was just looking at Si. I know he enjoys it.
What? And said the word, it's quite tight.
Yeah.
But it's just a noisy experience now. It's the only thing that puts me off slightly.
Yeah.
Just the sort of...
What, when you just sneak in, sneak out? You kind of go all Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
But you can't do it without the sound of rustling paper.
No. It's a disappointment.
See, rustling paper just reminds me of fish and chips.
So if I just douse him with salt and vinegar...
But you're ruining that for me now. Because you're changing the sound of rustling paper.
There you go. Never mind. Never mind, eh? Let's have a podcast. Why not? Let's move away from paper underpants.
Put these on.
To my right, the man with the golden nipples, Harry, licensed to tweak England.
Hello.
And to my left, exact fare only, please. He's always on the buses. It's Tom, plenty of room up top. Evans.
Yep. Can't argue with any of that.
No, it's completely true. It's completely true. And the... go on.
You are Harry Sunshine. You're his everything.
Especially my hot tub buddy.
There you go.
Is it good? Is it safe?
Is it safe?
Is it safe?
You've no idea what that means, do you?
Nope.
No, never mind.
Another film you've not
Another one
seen.
for the list.
Yeah, add it to the list.
Yeah, it's Marathon Man.
Mind you, most people listening to this won't know what the hell that meant, all of that.
I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
EA.
EA?
What a bunch of wankers.
There you go. And
That's it.
That's it. Thanks very much.
Harry.
Keep it good and short. Bye, TTFN. I suppose we better forge ahead, because we're all here. Harry's got most of his clothes on, so
Now,
Let's
for
talk
the moment.
about chocolate.
Chocolate? What's your favourite chocolate?
Ooh. Dime bar. I wouldn't mind one of those right now.
Yeah, I could go for a dime bar. Or a
Toblerone.
Dame bar, as they call them now, of course.
That's just wrong.
Well, yeah, I know. I would have a dime.
They're wrong.
I would have a dime bar.
I mean, Toblerone. I wouldn't mind one of them right now.
Oh, I had one. No, it's all gone.
Oh, thanks for that.
Sorry.
Bastard.
Never mind. Harry?
Bounty, probably.
Get out.
Bounty. No, Bounty's a good bounty.
No.
Do you know why they're in twos? Why you have like two little ones as
No.
opposed to one? No, neither do I.
That was good.
It's
That was enlightening.
I thought maybe you would know.
Unfortunately not.
Damn it.
I know.
Gone.
It's because you can eat half of one and then go, this is fucking revolting, and put the other half down. That's why. Coconut. See what I did there? It was rubbish. Anyway, let's talk
Let's talk EA.
about less chocolate.
Let's talk
more
about video
EA.
games, surely, unless we're going to change the themes of the podcast over.
Are we even going to say what this podcast is?
EA, we said it once or twice.
Okay.
So, Activision, Call of Duty, go. No, EA, Electronic Arts. Founded...
1983.
I've got 1982.
I've got 82.
I'm not doing another quiz.
No.
All right.
So wrong.
Okay.
Get out.
I know it was Silicon Valley.
What was Silicon Valley?
That's where it was founded.
I didn't know that.
By, what's the guy's name? Flip Turger.
Tink Winkle. What was it?
Turger.
Trip Hawkins.
That's
Or
the one.
Hawkins.
Trip
What a
Hawkins.
name.
What a
Hawkins. Well, that's a fantastic name.
I like Tick Hergel. That's much better.
Tick Hergel. Well, let's just say it's Tick Hergel. So 1982,
Slim Pickens
Slim Pickens,
creates EA.
Winkle Berryman.
Or, as it was called, it wasn't called EA, it's called Electronic Arts, wasn't it?
I suppose technically it still is. It's just been abbreviated down to EA, but everyone just calls it EA
For simple folk, yeah.
for the simplicity of it all. So
Yeah.
EA, 5 games they shipped originally, but their first one was a game called Hard Hat Mac, which
I've
was
never heard of this.
for the app. No, I'd never heard of it either. For the Apple II was the game.
Was it the Apple II, was it?
That was the machine it was originally going to be shipped for.
Because I know it was all home computers that they kind of
Yeah.
started on. But
But originally
II,
for
wow.
the Apple II. And it was essentially a Donkey Kong clone.
I was about to say it
see.
sounds like that.
From the images I've seen, I have to say I'd never heard of it. I would have thought, given that it was the first game they ever published, I would have been aware of it. Just in
Yeah.
some capacity, it would have just floated up every now and again on some gaming website of some description, but never heard of it.
Probably because no one had enough money to buy an Apple II, so no one played it.
Back then, not without giving some children away.
Yeah.
Have those down as
Sell a
collateral.
limb.
Yeah,
And
that
then
sort
you
of thing.
go, oh my god, I've sold my arm, I can't play.
One apple two, let's have a kidney.
Hard Hat Mac.
No.
Just a kidney?
Or just one, just to start you
Hey,
off.
Harry-
That's your down
that's not too
payment.
bad.
Harry knows a man who knows a man.
You want one kidney? I'll get you a dozen kidneys.
He knows a man called Sidney the Kidney.
No, just Sydney sells kidneys.
Oh, okay.
He's not Sydney the kidney. Don't
But
be
from
silly.
there, but from those humble beginnings, they've grown to be the third largest gaming company by revenue.
Yeah,
So Nintendo, good old Uncle Nintendo, right at the top.
of course.
Real money, that is.
Real money, but it's just revenue.
Oh, okay.
So money coming in.
Because it's only really Nintendo who can report proper money in
Genuine,
the bank.
honest
Yeah.
to goodness profits.
Yeah, dollars in the bank.
So Nintendo, then Activision Blizzard, and then it's EA. So right up there at the very top. I mean, they produce game upon game upon game upon game, and that's one of the things that I think we will probably discuss, is have any number of franchises that they can roll out year after year after year,
And it still fucking sells.
and it still sells by the boatload.
Yeah.
Now, some of the franchises have fallen by the wayside
Yep.
and have been overtaken. So something like Medal of Honor, which you might have thought way back when would have been something that would have been a perennial annual release,
Yep.
but that just got overshadowed very quickly, realistically, by Call of Duty,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's just taken over and dominated that particular market. But as far as sort of the sports games, the real annual releases, they just keep on coming. And they sort of get a free pass, because when you look at something like Assassin's Creed, which obviously has now recently become a not annual franchise, and I think a lot of people have said it really shouldn't be, it didn't need to be. EA get a bit of a free pass with the sports games. Is that fair? Do people
I would
think that's
say
okay?
they did originally, but then there's always been competition. I mean, the biggest EA Sports selling franchise is FIFA by,
Of course.
by
Yes.
miles. Originally, the first one was Madden
Yep.
NFL,
Yep.
and that was their very first launch sports title for
Okay.
EA Sports. But FIFA's obviously the giant. That's the one that keeps selling every year. I think at the time, back in the day when I was younger, I played a lot of it on the Mega Drive, probably the Master System as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it was on that. And there was the Mega Drive edition. Didn't really play it on the SNES, only because I didn't have a SNES. So that
Yeah,
would be
that
why.
would make sense.
But I had a friend who had a Mega Drive. That's why I played it on that. A lot of FIFA on that. There was a lot of Madden we played on that, even though we didn't really get what we were doing. It was just good fun.
I remember playing Madden on I don't know if it was a Master System or a Mega Drive. Might have been a Mega Drive.
I think it was
remember
Mega Drive. I
playing,
think it was Mega Drive when it came
but
out.
again, not having clue what was going on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you know it, you'll enjoy it. But for its time now, yeah, Madden being the first launch game, but then FIFA being the biggest franchise. Although I was going to say, it used to be that or Actua Soccer. And Actua Soccer was a game from, I want to say Gremlin. And
Blimey.
that came out on the PS1,
Okay.
which is when FIFA World Cup 98, I think, started on the PlayStation 1.
Right.
And that was kind of one of their biggest selling. I think it was Road to 98.
Oh, okay. Yes, I remember.
And that was quite a big seller for them. But then, as soon as Actual Soccer kind of died by the side, Pro Evo came out, and that was
Yeah.
their big competition.
Well, I was trying to think, it was International Superstar.
That was it,
Soccer,
ISS Pro.
ISS Pro, that was it.
Yeah, and that
I had that
became
on
Pro
the
Evo.
I had it on the N64.
Yeah,
The figures all look completely bizarre because they were all completely blocky.
yeah.
Very,
Well,
very weird looking things.
They had FIFA, I want to say, Road to the World Cup on the N64 as well.
I had
They-
some sort of FIFA game on my N64, but I have no idea which
Yeah,
one
it
it
had
was.
really good four-player. So we could all be on the same time. There was many arguments and joy ensued in terms of people not passing the ball when they should.
Okay,
But
yeah,
of
yeah.
course that made it more fun because
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
face it, the gameplay was a bit for its time. It was pretty good, but if you think how much enjoyment you got out of it now, if you played it back now, you'd think, why did I enjoy this?
Yeah, yeah.
But getting to my point, yeah, FIFA being the one, and then Pro Evo's kind of fading away again, even though they've done some good ones so far.
Well, we did look at I can't think on which episode it was, when we were looking at the numbers. And the numbers between FIFA and Pro Evo were not as vast as I thought they perhaps would have been.
Because doesn't Pro
Not
Evo
back in
do...
the day.
No, but just now, but in total
yeah.
global sales.
They kind of made a little bit of a comeback.
To the-
Just a little bit. But this is my point.
Okay.
Is FIFA again has now become full circle back to the top of the class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to go some to even get pairs to even touch it for revenue.
But the argument, I think, for a lot of people is you've got the annual franchises. Obviously, some of them we don't really see over here. Some of them aren't annual, but I dare say the ones that would be annual, obviously FIFA, Madden, NBA, NHL, NASCAR, I assume in the States, I dare say they will have one per year.
Yeah,
we see them
always
occasionally.
in the US, but we see it once in a blue moon.
And then obviously the PGA. No, you don't get fight nights annually. That's sort of overtaken by
It's
UFC.
now.
But will UFC perhaps take up that mantle and then become an annual franchise?
So.
And UFC's bigger than... Well, I was going to say it's bigger than boxing, but boxing's had a real good comeback recently.
Certainly has. I don't know how long it'll be before we see another fight night. Hopefully, I know for you, certainly not too long. But you've got those ones. It's an every year thing.
I think for the VR premise and just the kind of
I think that'd be really cool.
side of it,
Yeah.
I could see that happening. But I do think it would be sort of a one-off launch title just to do it. Whereas I think they'll probably go back to UFC for the bread and butter money.
But this is it. So you have these staple franchises every single year. They come out. Can be argued in this day and age with downloadable content and patches and updates. Could we not have one game and a patch is rolled out to update the teams, update the players in whatever game it would be?
You know the answer, don't you? I mean, they'll give you as little as possible for the same amount of money, and people will just lap it up.
That's the thing. People keep buying it.
Yeah. I mean, there are better games out there. I mean, I'm not a massive basketball fan, but I've got friends who are. None of them will touch NBA because it's atrocious. It's a really poor game.
It's the 2K series.
It's the 2K series that's doing it. Same with the wrestling. That used to be...
THQ? No?
It was THQ
It was.
originally, yeah.
I remember Acclaim doing one.
Yeah, Acclaim were part
when.
of it. And I think it was something to... When they like some... I want to say... not Total Reality. I can't remember what it was now. But they had like a pumpkin for a logo. I think they used to make all the games. Anyway, when it was SmackDown and Raw and all that stuff, when it was good. But then EA were looking into getting that. Because that would have been one of their perfect titles to take to their kind of roster of sports games like that.
Yeah.
But obviously 2K came in with a lot more cash, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it now, it's all 2K with the wrestling games.
And from what I understand, not really want to talk about that for too long, but one of the biggest issues with the 2K series is that they've apparently let it stagnate quite a lot, and the game itself hasn't evolved. They're just updating the roster,
Right.
Yeah.
which is a huge argument against these sorts of annual releases, where they're saying, well, if the game is essentially exactly the same, you're just changing the players, changing the characters in it, could that not be achieved by just a £20 update? As opposed to a £50
I don't even think
full price game.
they should charge for it, really.
But X amount of work has gone into it. If you're spending whatever it is on the base game, now if they operated, obviously you do have EA Access, which is their platform for. Well, it's on the PC now. Is Origins Access or Access Origins?
Origin Access, I think that's
That sort of
just
thing.
started, yeah.
But EA Access, obviously on the Xbox One, there's an exclusivity thing. But I dare say there would be perhaps people, if they know they buy FIFA annually, they buy it absolutely every year without fail. If they charged, instead of paying £50 for the game, they charged £100 for the game, but that would last them 5 years. And that'd be £100. That would update the game at the same point where the new game would come out.
Yeah.
In terms of things like squad rosters and stuff, I agree, but there's sometimes, I would say probably most people know every 3 years you're going to get an improvement in either the gameplay, the mechanic of what you do in the game, rather than just being a roster update, and that's when they'll charge. That's when certain times they have justification to charge for it. I agree with you. In between times, when you've got like FIFA 10 and FIFA 11, ignore FIFA 11, just give us an update.
Yeah.
And then FIFA 12 make a big significant change. But if people are prepared to pay, this is going to sound crazy, but it's not good business.
No,
if you're going to ignore that money.
I agree.
There.
Because people are prepared to pay for it.
Exactly. Once it's accepted, they're just going to carry on with it.
I mean, from a sensible point of view, you've hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what you should provide to your paying public. If you're going to charge $60 or 50 quid for us, for these games every year, then you'd expect a massive amount of things thrown at it. That's a lot of money, but they don't do it because they know people are going to pay that every year over and over.
My question is certainly how far can they go with updating the game? Obviously, I don't play it. Harry, you don't play FIFA. Certainly not enough for me to see any real difference, particularly. How much can they keep tweaking and adding to the point where they are just fumbling for things to include to justify their £50 for this year?
As a FIFA player now, I'm obviously, I've said this many a time, I'm into my career mode.
Yeah.
And that's primarily what I buy it for, which is originally what it was launched for, as we've said before. Personally, for me, I wait until it's dropped in price because I haven't got the need to go out and get the latest one to be online playing Ultimate Team or whatever, with the latest kits, the latest squads, the latest whoever's of Chelsea or Man U, because I couldn't give a toss about them. I'd play as a little team and try and make it grow.
Yeah.
But for me, I think you're absolutely right. I'm at this point now where the way I play the game, I get enough enjoyment out of it that it's great for me. My team do well in it if they win. I get that feeling of enjoying the players that are there, realising, oh, it's him, and all that kind of thing. In terms of gameplay-wise, I'm not quick enough or fast enough now for it to actually make me think, I don't know what else you can add to this to make it any better.
Yeah.
You know? Or, for those who are pro-level players that you see playing, they all know the skills and the tricks, and they could be playing this game as a non-branded FIFA game, still doing those skills and tricks with a generated figure on there, regardless of if it's got Ronaldo written on it or Messi written on his shirt. They could just be doing those and enjoying doing that. It's a hard way to describe it, but I think they enjoy the actual... You know, it's like buying a fighting game and playing a fighting game. You kind of are getting to the stage now where they're giving you the ability to put combos onto the player as you move them around the pitch.
Right.
And I've noticed in upgrades of that game that it actually says there's a training mode as you play. If you're just playing a normal game by yourself against the console, it actually shows you on the above the player as you're nearing an opponent. If you press this would happen, or if you press that would happen. It's trying to train you up to get even better than you are.
Right.
Okay.
You know, so that you can then learn something about the game that you don't normally play that way or use that way. Now, I'm not one of these people that plays a lot of tricks. So I like to do a lot of speed, so I like to go break away really fast. But there are a lot of people out there that do a lot of tricks with it and things like that. And I think there's all this touch control and there's all this... You know, there's all these skill levels that they've got to now where you play the game and it feels like playing or watching a real game of football and playing a real game of football in terms of skill sets you've got to pull off in, you know, for each player's move. The problem is, I don't think in reality those players now have any skill sets further than that. Yes, you're going to get someone like Messi who's going to blind you with amazing football skills, who's just impossible to watch his feet because they're so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the one-off, which is probably true of how good he is. But the point is, it's almost impossible to think, what, like you said, where can they go next? They can improve the quality of the graphics, they can improve the quality of the presentation, so it's like television, but it already is that. I mean, I watch it and my friends might walk in and go, oh, have you got Sky Sports on? And it's not, it's there, it's FIFA loading up with all the commentary, all the crowd roaring, all the cheering, the fireworks going off, the presentation, even all the diving, all the bad side of football is working its way into it. You know, you used to be able to dive in one of the versions and then they got rid of it because they didn't think it was a very good thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So they removed it. But you have a lot of confrontation in it between players and referees and things like that, just like you would see on the television. All the drama going on. For me personally, playing that game so much, I'm so deeply into it, just like you're into, you know, Dota or something like that. I'm so passionate about that game.
Yeah.
I agree with exactly what you said. I don't know where they can go, other than obviously teams change every year. That's fair enough. That should possibly be a free update. I would maybe pay a couple of quid for it or something. I just don't know where they go past it. I think it's all... The only thing is Ultimate Team, which is not something I'm interested in.
I don't... Truth be told, I don't even know what Ultimate Team is beyond people buying packs of cards.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's all it is. I'm assuming it is like your dream team. You would randomly get
You remember
players
collecting Panini stickers or your mates doing it? It's literally that. So you pay for your random pack of stickers.
Yep.
There might be good players in it, shit players in it. There might be skill levels that level you up. You open them, watching all these videos, most people that spend so much money, they toss 30 of the 32 and maybe keep 2 of them to maybe trade or sell. If they're good, you put them in your team. Doesn't matter if they're called Tom's 11 or whatever.
Right.
You put them in there and then you try and get their chemistry to work together. So by chemistry, how well that player works next to that player.
Okay.
In terms of helping each other. And you try and do that across your whole team. You put it online and you play a multiplayer match against someone else.
Okay.
That's what it is. So it's literally like Pokemon,
right,
but for football. It's literally the only thing is that instead of having a battle where 2 creatures fight it out, you have a game of football where 2 teams fight it out.
Okay.
Literally the same principle. But the only difference is, can you pay for Pokemon? I don't know.
No.
You? Well, there you
Well, you
go.
pay for the game, obviously. But
You pay for the game, and in this one, you pay for the game, and then they make you pay for the better players. I
guess.
presume.
Well, I imagine you can earn in-game currency,
You can.
but it would take a long time. So most people are just like, well, I'll just pay.
You can, and then there was a bit of controversy about their changing their prices, which caused a lot of uproar because for a certain time you could get a certain amount of points to put towards whatever
Okay.
for a certain amount of money, And then they suddenly just changed that amount, and it was kind of like, well, hang on, no one was forewarned of it. I'm sure there was some kind of small print somewhere.
Yeah.
But the point being, it was just a change that wasn't very popular, so it kind of killed it off, and that's when a lot of people you saw a lot of sales in things like Pro Evo.
Okay.
Because that suddenly started to pick up, because people on YouTube, all these celebrities playing these sports games like that, would suddenly say, fuck FIFA.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and play Pro Evo, and then that suddenly got some hype, which I think helped it quite a bit, but EA obviously saw that and amended it, because I think that's their cash cow. Which you could say that about Battlefront now.
Except a lot of their franchises, the ones that are there currently, Battlefront as well, there's only Battlefield.
Yeah.
It's just the season pass cost with those games especially.
Well, apparently the only thing you've seen so far is one update or something so far.
What, for Battlefront?
For Star Wars Battlefront. There's been a few map updates, Jakku or something.
That was the freebie, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a freebie, but then that was part of the season pass, which I think was also the only thing that was released from the season pass so far, and no one's received anything yet.
Really?
I believe
Jesus.
so, from what I understand. And that season pass was $50 or something.
Yeah, it's about
40 quid.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. Apparently, there's only been minimal things released.
That's
It's
surprising.
I was watching someone playing it, and they were going through it. Apparently, there's a few more face choices in customizing your character.
Brilliant.
Okay.
A few more weapon customization choices, and then the Jakku map, I think, when it was exclusive to certain places, is now released through the season pass, and I think that's it. But how long has that game been out for now?
That was end of November.
Yeah.
So long
3
enough
months.
then.
Yeah.
So you would think there'd be a significant update other than a few skins and
That is
one
a
map.
thought. When you think about Battlefield, you can buy the season pass like most games on launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think you see any of the content for a few months just because they want
You
people...
never do with anything, though.
Yeah,
Call of
'cause-
Duty's the same.
Exactly.
You don't get anything for it there and then. Very few games do.
Yeah, you just want people to get on with the game first of all, get familiar with it, and then when it gets to the point where they might start slipping away, map pack comes out. Here's a bunch of other tools for you to get used to and have fun with.
Yeah.
I suppose there are some diehards that are always going to buy the season pass there and then because they know they're going to buy it at some point and they're just in the mood to buy, so they will just snap it up alongside the game.
So I think it doesn't surprise me that you haven't really seen much from the season pass.
But with 3 months in, if you're gonna have four, generally speaking, if you're going down the COD route and the Battlefield route, which most games tend to go down, before map packs released quarterly.
Yeah.
So every 3 months. So this is the point where you should
That's
be seeing
true,
something major.
Yeah.
For those people that have got the map packs, the other thing is you want to entice those people that didn't buy the season pass at the off. First map pack's about to arrive. You've got to try and tempt them into thinking, actually, do you know what? I will buy the season pass. I will commit to owning this game for 12 months. So therefore, it's got to be a good amount in there. With the promise of a lot more.
That's going to be their big shooter, isn't it? I mean, that Battlefront series. That's their competitor to Activision's Call of Duty.
Well, they now have two, because obviously you've got Battlefront and you've got Battlefield.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you're going to see Battlefront as a...
They're going to do every other year.
Really?
Yeah, they said they're going to do every other year now. So Battlefield will be this year, the Battlefront next year.
Okay.
Just in time, I guess, for the next Star Wars film.
Because at least, obviously,
Proper.
Star Wars film.
With COD, you always do get, like you say, you'll get your regular quarterly, release of maps.
Yeah.
And then content that comes with that as well. You can sort of know what you're getting when you pre-buy a season pass.
Yeah.
But with Battlefront, at least with the Star Wars one, it seems like people have paid an awful lot up front for not much content so far.
I feel like they're going to have to change the second one a lot as well. Considering the first one was strictly multiplayer, which people will obviously just buy it for because it's Star Wars.
I think now that... Because I think as we'd sort of discussed in that Star Wars episode, that it was one of those sort of fortuitous things. They were working on a Battlefront game. They knew that they couldn't do a single-player campaign because people would want it based on the film, the original film, which they're not going to do. I don't know if necessarily would people want a game based on the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy.
I want them to release that 1313.
Yeah,
which I think, but they did say that was still, they might just readapt that.
I hope so.
But with the Boba Fett film as one of these legacy trilogies, then they'll just reappropriate X amount of that game and fold it back into that.
Yeah.
But that's going to be years away anyway.
Yeah,
you've got Rogue One, then the Han Solo one, and then the Boba Fett one. So that's still 5+ years away.
Yeah, true. I mean, with that license though, there's a lot of games in there that we're we don't really need a Disney Infinity.
No, I think it would be,
Star Wars, or at least I don't.
It would be very strange for them not to at least consider a single-player Star Wars film
'Cause that
of
was-
some description.
Yeah, because that was one thing that people wanted out of Battlefront. They were like, well, where's like a single-player kind of campaign to it? So it would make sense if they were like, well, we are going to make a single-player game then.
They
within
could.
Star Wars
They
universe.
could tie it in with this Rogue Legacy film. If it's not so tied directly to the Star Wars canon proper. Well,
Yeah.
of course it is Star Wars canon, but this new trilogy, which obviously you can't do for when it's released. And generally speaking, tie-ins just don't tend to work
No.
desperately well. So yeah, just do your own thing. Just make it out as something completely different. Have some of these other spies working in and around.
And they could do some
Parts
really
of the
good
films that
stuff
aren't
with
in.
like the Star Wars universe.
Well, the universe is there. There's so much of it there.
And it would just sell.
It always does.
So you just got to hope that they'll come up with something good for that. But that's probably not going to be for a while. Yeah.
No. Let's move on from FIFA.
Yeah.
I was amazed at the 17 in the Battlefield series. 17 games.
Really?
Yep. Across the lot.
Because you had stuff like Battlefield 19.
It's the 1942 series.
Yeah. That was a series? I thought it was just the one.
New, a few of those. Or that ilk. But certainly 17 in total.
I know
Includes
they-
Hardline.
They did.
But that includes Bad Company as well into that.
Yeah.
You add all those in, there's 17 titles, which was a lot.
And
Far more than I
they
thought.
did one, I think I can remember, called Battlefield Heroes,
Yep,
which was a free-to-play,
yep.
like, online multiplayer game. God,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
completely forgot about that.
So it was more than I thought.
Yeah.
But Battlefield, that still holds up pretty strongly against Call of Duty, certainly
Yeah.
of late.
Definitely.
I don't know what point it started, maybe from, in my mind, Battlefield 3. Certainly,
4 is very popular.
certainly 4 still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, better than Hardline in a long way.
But I think, as we'd sort of said, Hardline was clearly another game. It started off as something completely different, and then
Maybe just like a DLC, and then they were
It
like,
was
They
well,
swallowed it
Visceral
up.
Studios, wasn't it?
yeah.
yes,
So it was their kind of attempt, and they kind of used the license.
yeah, they
But
just
you didn't really
stamped
need to
Battlefield
have
on
Battlefield on it.
no. But it was just you're going to sell X amount more copies just by stamping Battlefront
gotcha.
on the front.
Yeah, you've already kind of sold a market that was already in the, already going to pick up their copy of Battlefield, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
They were already there to buy it.
And it was a sort of early release, February, March, something
Yeah.
like that release. It wasn't the sort of typical.
It wasn't to compete with something, was it?
Actually, it can't have been. I
Because
don't
it would
think
have
was.
been. It would have been Advanced Warfare or Ghosts.
But they're always
Like, towards the end
Ghost
of the
was
year.
already
October,
out.
yeah.
November. Always.
I think it probably would have been.
There was
Hardline
nothing.
was
I don't think
Hardline
it
was definitely early year.
Yeah.
Early of the year.
It was a March-ish or something like that. I
But
can't
not
remember
very
exactly when it was.
successful anyway.
No.
Not to the same level.
No.
And they're still pumping out DLC for it now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, like with any Battlefield game,
Yeah.
they have the season
But it
pass.
still comes. Obviously, they're still committed. I guess they would do if people had bought the season pass. They've got to still stick
Yeah.
with it.
But I think Battlefield holds up against Call of Duty especially just because people enjoy the realism of it.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you're within a battlefield. Because they have, like, especially on PC, you can play with, like, hundreds of players.
Yeah, yeah.
And that kind of just atmosphere is really engaging.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
It's
think I
just
just
so
liked,
good.
never really played it properly, but I did briefly play 4, I think. And just the notion that you can just sort of suddenly climb into an aeroplane or you can climb into a tank or
Yeah.
whatever, as opposed to just being on foot more or less
Exactly.
the entire time.
Because they have these huge open maps, which, when you look at them, you're like, Jesus, this is going to be ridiculous to get around.
Yeah.
They've got a really good spawning system in it, so you can just, as long as you've got a person in your squad that's not fighting anyone, you can just spawn on top of them.
Yeah.
So rather than being at the back end of the map, you can get like somewhere in the centre or whatever. But they're just fantastic games because they have really nice customization as well. So there's like a lot to do with like your weapons and things like that. And then just the game modes are different enough from Call of Duty that it just doesn't feel like it all kind of blends into the same thing.
Mm.
True. I can't add anything to it because, I mean, they're not really my kind of games, so it's not really, I don't really want to down it in front of, for those that enjoy that kind of thing. And my old flatmate would play Battlefield Vietnam on his PC.
Okay, yeah.
One of these, how many did you say the
17.
titles?
17.
17, one of the 17 titles. That and 1942.
Yeah, that was really good.
Forever. And
Yeah.
that had all your Jeeps in it, any kind of vintage vehicle. Played that for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I used to just
Online,
hear
I
him.
assume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to just hear him shouting his head off. Soon to be became an ex-flatmate, but that
Because
kind
of
of
that.
put me off. Yeah, because it was just every night for till the middle of the night. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous, and he was obsessed with that. So it obviously had something going for it, but not
I was
for
gonna
me.
say, it's the multiplayer that, especially with 3 and 4, that are so highly rated.
Yeah.
The single player's not so much. Then if-
When is the single player
But then
really
he has
highly
got
rated?
exactly
I was gonna
the
say,
same,
but
yeah.
people really enjoyed the single players for the Bad Company series.
But I think
I
of those
tried
as
it,
single
but-
players game. I don't think of those as multiplayers ever. I dare say the multiplayer must be fairly popular.
Especially for the Bad Company 2, a lot of people played that one, and then
Okay.
Battlefield 3 really took over from that.
Okay.
So yeah,
I
the
think-
single player was good in those two, especially.
I mean, I was just going to say, I remember playing Medal of Honor years ago from
Yeah,
2015
definitely.
studios back in the day, and that was outstanding.
So I love the original Medal of Honor on the PS1. I remember playing Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor
Frontline.
Underground. No, it's on
That's
PS1.
PS2.
It's just Medal of Honor.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Just the original vanilla Medal of Honor and
Oh,
Medal of
okay.
Honor Underground. I absolutely fucking loved. Absolutely adored those games. I thought they were astounding.
I don't think I could have got used to a D-pad moving around.
It's fair enough. And of course, there was the thing invented by Steven Spielberg,
What, the
Medal of Honor.
series?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
Little tidbit for you. I don't know whether it was around the time of Saving Private Ryan.
what I
I
was
guess he
thinking.
must have been
Probably.
in that frame of mind. 'Cause obviously, he loves video games and he's made a few video games. But Medal of
Yeah.
Honor was, he originally sort of created the idea
I remember
for all
playing
that.
so many times over on my PC. It was just a wonderful game. Very, very good, the first one. Even the expansions were really good. But I just think that's obviously because they were so story-driven.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, I don't think that's the norm these days. So.
No.
Which is a shame, because I think there are some really good stories to be told. I think there is that sort of desire for people, certainly now, to move away from the modern / bordering on futuristic warfare and
There's
go
just been
back.
too much of it, yeah.
Yeah. But then I think that had happened with the World War II setting, where it
Yeah.
became oversaturated. But then I think back then, more people were going at it. There were more franchises
Yeah.
for it. More people were just dipping their toes into it. Whereas now you really do only have, realistically, Call of Duty and the Battlefield series proper.
Yeah.
The rumour currently is that the next Battlefield, so 5,
And
will
we'll
be
be
a
going
World
back.
War One
Yeah.
setting.
Which will be so good.
Which would be great, because it just mixes everything up. Because
Yeah.
you're not going to have this proliferation of machine guns or sniper rifles or handguns or whatever it might be. You're going to have to narrow that down a little bit. But it would just make for a different kind of fighting.
I
It
think
just
it'll-
changes it all up.
It will
I think
go
it'd be
well
very
in their
interesting.
favour, because rumours at the moment with Call of Duty is that the next one in line is Ghosts 2,
Mm.
which is a fucking ridiculous idea.
Would you be disappointed if it doesn't have single player? Not Ghost 2, but
New Battlefield.
the Battlefield, yeah.
It's a difficult one because a lot of the time, especially with first-person shooters, I buy them just for the multiplayer.
And I'd be the other way round.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but I would eventually get around to the single player.
Yeah.
It might be a while, but I'll end up doing it, especially with 3 and 4, but they were just appalling. If it didn't have a single player, I'd probably still pick it up, just because I know that they've done multiplayer Battlefield games very well.
Yeah.
So the last Call of Duties I really enjoyed were Call of Duties 2 and 3, which were the World War II ones.
Yeah.
I just really, really loved those. Absolutely adored those. So I'd be well up for getting a Battlefield or a Call of Duty game if it had returned to that setting.
I want one where you have to show your papers again. That was something that they did in Medal of Honor. You could actually sneak through the submarine
That's right.
enclosure,
Yeah.
and there were submarines around, and you could walk around, and if you stole a uniform, you could steal the papers.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting, you could get some guy going, "Papers, please," or whatever the German equivalent would be.
Papier.
I don't know, but I'll take your word for it. And you could just hold up the papers with your papers button, which was luckily the letter P for me on my keyboard, which was lucky for everyone. If they don't have a papers button in the next one, I'm going to be very
They're
disappointed.
just doing it wrong. That's what I need.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to go back to World War One or Two,
Yeah.
you never really have many World War One kind of shooters, do you?
There were a couple. The only one I remember, which I love the idea of it. I really, really love the idea of it. It wasn't executed brilliantly, and it was either called Ion Storm, I think, or Iron Storm, and I can't remember which way it was. And it came out on the PS2, and it was one of those sort of dystopian future what ifs where World War One hadn't ever ended. And it was now the 1960s, and World War One had been raging for the last, whatever it was, 40 plus years.
Has it gone all steampunk?
More than that, 50, kind of, yeah.
Like Mutant Chronicles style thing?
That type of thing, but it just meant weaponry was sort of at that point where it was just a little bit sort of far out, a little bit modern, but because of the nature of history hadn't moved on the way it had the war finished in our history.
Yeah.
So technology just evolved in a different way because more was pumped into weaponry as opposed to, anything else. I just really like the idea of that. I'm trying to think of any other World War One shooters, because isn't it that Verdun game? Now that's
On
PC,
PC.
but that's World War One, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah.
Hugely popular.
Completely forgot about that, but yeah, that's a really successful World War One modern game.
And what's that other one that's gaining quite a lot of traction at the moment?
One?
No, not Valiant Hearts.
Not Valiant, that's World War One.
That's World War One. But I was thinking there's a game that I keep sort of reading on the internet at the moment, which is sort of it's being kickstarted at the moment, and that's Battle. What the hell's it called? It's something like Battlefield 1940 something or other. I thought, and that's
not like a remake of 1942.
I don't know, but it's a sort of big
Because that
multiplayer
would be
game.
World
But it
War
is.
II.
But obviously, given that it's being kickstarted, it obviously has nothing to do with
The actual Battlefield.
that other Battlefield series.
I'm
But
surprised
that's
they could
getting
get away with
huge
naming
amount.
it
Exactly.
that,
So it
Not
must have.
Band of Company of Brothers or something like that.
It was
it?
Company of Heroes.
Company of Heroes.
That's like a
That's a game.
top-down.
Yeah, that's a. It is
strategy
isometric view
thing.
strategy.
Yeah.
For EA though, I can't see it as much as I want papers produced and a monocle on someone. I can't see EA going, do you know what, that's the future of online multiplayer is.
But if it's one of those things that if you sort of take that model like let's say FIFA or whatnot, when you're there's nothing more we can do with this as it stands. We can't improve upon this. Battlefield 4 did really well for that modern shooter experience, that modern warfare experience.
Yeah.
Now, unless they want to go down the future-y route, which sort of Call of Duty clearly has gone down,
Oh, definitely.
unless they really want to go down that route, I don't necessarily think they do because they got Battlefront.
Mm.
That can be their future,
Exactly, yeah.
quote-unquote, shooter. So go back. Everyone seems to want it.
Yeah, you hear enough people asking for it.
Yeah, so just go down that route. What's the worst that can happen if it flops or doesn't do fantastically well? You can almost guarantee it's still going to sell enough to put a little bit of change in the back pocket,
Yeah.
and they can just move on next year.
I just
They
don't.
now have the strength and the power and the money, the funds, to be able to take a little bit of a risk on these things.
Yeah,
I would have
suppose.
said, because for EA Sports, all those games, they're going to keep filling up the coffers very nicely. And you take something like Hardline, which was a bit of a sideline. I think
Yeah.
that, although it wasn't a roaring runaway success, and I don't think we're likely to expect Battlefield Hardline 2 anytime soon,
No.
I think it did well enough.
I don't know though. It just has to reach a certain pinnacle, and then that's enough for them to sort of license a sequel. And I can't help thinking that all those people that thought Battlefield Hardline was going to be one other type of game than it actually turned out to be, enough of those people bought it under the pretense it was something else that put enough money in there for that studio to start the next sequel. You know, I think that's honestly how. I don't think they look at the quality of it now. I think they look at, can we beat our competitors, and can we be profitable enough?
Yeah,
and I think that's all they want to do in it.
Sure, the profit thing has to come into it, but I think that
I think-
it's one of those things I'd really rather they didn't, have to go down that route and rather just be a bit risky, be a bit
Yeah.
bold, let's say. Let's just do something different.
Yeah, but
Let's
I
just,
think
someone's got to go first.
But the thing is that you don't get that from the publisher. You get that creativity from the studio.
Yeah.
It's the studio that comes up with the idea. Like you and I sitting here, and we're all sitting here thinking, do you know, it'd be great to have this, it'd be great to have that, it'd be very brilliant. But you know, you pitch that to a publisher. A publisher's not the one who's created the idea. The studio has. They're the ones invested in it. Whereas the publisher is going to be the one that's thinking,
Thinking about the bottom line.
maybe Battlefield 2 would be more profitable.
Yeah.
We'll have Star Wars Battlefront 2. When the films come out, we'll do that. And then if we've got enough money, then maybe we'll give you this money to start this, maybe. That's the issue.
No, I agree with that, but I think it's got to that point with the way shooters are at the moment that I think we've nearly saturated that sort of the modern / slightly futuristic shooter. That
Definitely.
the only way you can go is to go back, and
Well-
someone's got to go first.
Yeah, true.
And if this Battlefield 5 turns out to be World War One, then I think that's great.
Yep.
Would you think it's great if it is basically Battlefield 4 but with a skin of World War 2 on it and it's exactly the same game? You know, like a 20% thought of campaign and a 80% multiplayer.
For me personally,
biased.
no, because I really like the single player campaign, like the setting and the feel and the mood. And I think what you can do graphically now that you couldn't have done when the last sort of World War II shooters were knocking around, which was probably closing in on 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it'd be some amazing stuff.
I mean,
But there's also the other thing you have to remember, of course, is the sensitivity that you're going to have associated with World War One and World
That's
War
true.
Two, which you don't get with fake wars. You can't offend anyone. You can't offend history.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who's buying games for their kids these days is worried whether they get offended by the game or not these days. I think that's out the window now.
Yeah, I
really
suppose it
think
would
that
be.
it doesn't really matter now, you know. If you're going to protect your kids, you'll protect them. If you're not fussed about what they play, then you're not fussed. It's just that.
But they
kind of
just
thing.
have to, depending on whether they go for a realistic setting. If you're setting something that is based upon a real battle in a real place where a real battle took place, to honour those that did fight for.
That is true. But funny you say that. I mean, something like Star Wars, you know, I mean, that's got no blood in it, no guts, no swearing or profanity.
Mm.
But as soon as you shoot someone, you know, your rating of that game goes up. I mean, that's the kind of irony of it. I mean, we all like the Star Wars movies.
Oh, sure.
As soon as you play the game where you actually shoot someone, that kind of puts
But
that
I'm
up.
just talking about, you can't trivialise in any way, shape or form something that actually happened, or, you know, people genuinely died at a certain point where potentially there are relatives that are still knocking around.
Yeah.
It's that side of it which is the trickier thing, perhaps in this day and age where people are a little more, I don't know if to say people are now more sensitive to those things, but people seem to take offence at the drop of a hat these days
I think
over anything.
the thing that would cause something like that would most likely be a single player to it, because something like Verdun has not had any kind of backlash,
No.
but that's just a purely multiplayer game.
Mm.
But as soon as there's some kind of story and you're having to introduce people with names
Yeah, I think
and that
that's
kind
the
of thing.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking about playing some of the games that I really enjoyed that were World War II shooters, and you don't tend to see people running around the streets in them. You have to be very careful on the fine line that you go across.
The other thing in this day, and of course, is, I mean, that's talking about sort of, you know, the bottom line and facts and not facts and figures, but figures. Particularly, is if you did do a World War II shooter, World War One shooter, is that therefore how well would it sell in Germany, which is a big
Yeah.
market. You know, it's a huge. You know, European market is massive, second only to America, certainly. In most cases, certainly in these types of things, first-person shooters, I believe, don't tend to sell desperately well over in Japan. It's not their type
Yeah.
of thing. But certainly in America and Europe, it really is. And if you're taking out a huge market by saying, well, the Germans are going to be buying this, but they're also going to be the bad guys by default. But obviously, originally, you know, that we did have World War II shooters, and they, you know,
Yeah.
they sold at some point, clearly.
That's a good point. I never really thought of that because I think that there's so many generations gone now that shooters are obviously pretty popular in Germany. They have to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you think about it, when you're the protagonist, it's nearly always from an ally's point of view. So
Yeah, of course it is.
I think you've hit a nail on. I think you've hit a valid point there.
Because I do remember there was that strange thing when, obviously, Wolfenstein, various editions of Wolfenstein being released. I'm talking about the original Wolfenstein, not
Okay.
the New Order ones. And I'm sure there was a version I played where the graphics were exactly the same, but the swastika was removed and they just replaced it with something else. And all the pictures of Hitler, which obviously were very pixely, you
Yeah.
could make out the moustache, but they just removed the moustache. I think so. It could have been released in Germany. Maybe it was the European version. I think it must have been the European version. In the States, you still had the moustache and the swastika, but in Europe, the moustache went.
I guess they'd have to just to market it towards like a European.
You know, it's
audience.
clear everyone had German
Yeah.
accents. It was like screaming. Obviously, you knew exactly what it was, but just, I suppose, just to get past censors.
I mean, who did publish the last Wolfenstein?
Bethesda.
That was Bethesda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was a very successful game.
Yeah.
Very, very good game. Obviously, its content was very full on as well.
Yeah.
So you've got to sort of wonder whether this answers our question that we're talking about, which is whether it's viable for EA to release a game that's a World War II shooter, or whether it's safe for them to release it as a generic army against another bunch of bad guys that then lines their coffers, you know, more to their liking than taking a risk with something like a World War II shooter.
Because the other thing, obviously, you have the wars in. I suppose you couldn't really do the ones sort of in and around, say, Iraq, Desert Storm, etc., because that is too new, too raw.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that because that's maybe a little too fresh.
You kind of have things that lean towards them. Things like Spec Ops did it. Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah,
That's true.
They did something like that.
They
I think
did
some
really
Ghost
well.
Recons did it, but
Yeah.
they kind of had a
and those Medal of
message
Honor, the
in
last
as well.
Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor
remake.
did it, but it kind of was suggested that it was where
Yeah.
it is and where it's placed. It wasn't sort of drilled home like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that also is why it wasn't so successful as well, because it was a bit too fresh, or it was a bit too, I want to escape with my video games and not be reminded of the news kind of thing.
I think that's the thing for a lot of games, though, isn't it? Because there's that that notion that that's why I don't really get on with, I suppose, something like FIFA or games of that type, where it's like, well, I could go and play a game of football. I mean, technically, I can go and play a game of football.
Yeah.
I could go out and get some mates, go to the park or whatever, grab a ball and kick the ball over a fence, and then just sit down and talk about whatever we wanted rather than play football. But we could go and play football. But I can't pick up an assault rifle and go and shoot whoever, or pick up a plasma cannon and start shooting
Yeah.
the Covenant, or
Yeah.
whatever. I can't do these things. So that's where I would favour playing my video games. I can't go and slaughter dragons in real life
True.
as much as I would want to. But that's getting off topic. EA. EA. Do you know the name of the guy that says that?
You?
No, I
What,
don't.
in the game.
That whole
I'm going to go with Frisp Tethers.
crisp tethers. Harry, would you like to have a crack at the voice? Not the voice, the name.
The voice. Do the voice.
Do the voice.
Do it with a little Russian.
Which one are we
slang.
going for? The only one I can think of is the EA Sports in the game thing.
Yeah, that one.
It's going to sound fucking terrible, though.
Okay.
He's going to do it.
Okay. Right, ready? Let me just... Okay, I'm ready.
I thought you were going to go for it. I didn't think you were...
No. I'm waiting for you.
It'll come out wrong. It'll be terrible.
That's what Simon says.
I just end up having to rip off my trousers.
All right, don't do the voice. I don't want.
Okay.
As much as Simon wants you to do it, keep your trousers
His
on.
name is Andrew Anthony.
Okay.
And that's the chap that...
And why? Any significance other than that? Is that his only claim to fame?
Yeah, that's what I was...
As far as I know, that's
Is
it.
he like a very famous actor that we just don't know?
No, I'd never heard of him before in my life.
So he's not the voice of Third Lieutenant in,
No,
Bat-
as far as I know,
Battlefield 5.
he's just voiceover man that ended up just going down the EA Sports. It's in the game.
I tell you what, you'd never have been able to tell that in the first NFL Madden game on the old Mega Drive.
But was it just garbled,
It's just
pixely nonsense? Yeah.
kind of thing.
Something you'll know. What is the full sentence?
What do you mean?
Or it's in the game. EA Sports.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what the reason why it's in the game?
No, I just thought that was it.
No. Because the full line is, if it's in the game, it's in the game.
When was that?
Because the idea was with EA Sports was
To
that
be
it was,
realer than real.
if it's in the game, if it's in the real game, it's in our game.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's in the game.
I did not realise that.
There we go. Now
Probably
take
some-
just a little strip of Harry's pants off. Just for that.
Why am I having to do it?
Save that for later.
God.
God, it's still warm. So nice and fresh.
I keep thinking C-3PO. That's Anthony Daniels.
That's Anthony Daniels.
Yeah. Can you play as C-3PO in the Star Wars Battlefront game?
Probably not.
No.
Oh, I think that should be the next DLC.
Don't think you could really do much as
Whoop you
C-3PO
go.
on a
You
battlefield.
could take a lovely oil bath or whatever it is, sitting in the middle of a battlefield. Oh, thank the bacon.
This is chaos rains down upon him, or around him, rather, I should say.
And Harry appears in his stormtrooper costume.
Here's another. This is the other thing about EA games is that the sheer number of titles they can rinse out of one particular title. Right, Need for Speed games.
Oh, Christ.
How many?
I was going to say something like 8, but it's probably something like 18.
Okay, 18,
It's higher,
Mr.
isn't
England?
it? Oh.
I'm going to say 22.
26.
That's close.
26.
26 titles.
And now Harry's going to list them all.
But isn't that? But again, Medal of Honor, 14 of them.
14 Medal of Honor games.
14 of Medal of Honor games.
Well, I know
That
of...
including.
Is that including the expansions?
No, but I suppose it's all the different versions they would have released on different consoles that would have been slightly different. So there was the one on the Wii, which would be a slightly different version of
Okay.
Slightly broken.
very broken. But they do. It's an odd thing because you have this mix with EA of them taking a risk on something that perhaps might not have worked and didn't work. Something like Kingdoms of Amalur,
Yeah.
which I think is one of the best games that no one bought.
Really?
I think it's an amazing
Actually,
I've
game.
heard a lot of
with it.
people do enjoy it. It's very kind of Fable-esque.
It's for me. It was if Skyrim or Oblivion and Fable had babies.
Yeah, I can
This
see
was
that.
the result, and
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. And I know a lot of my friends really enjoyed it, but I know people that just didn't give two figs about it. But I think the game inherently was good. It wasn't broken. It wasn't bad. It wasn't poor. It had quality all over it, and it just didn't sell. Like massively didn't
So
sell.
they had a terrible campaign because the guy who ran it, didn't he run them into the ground and they
I
all
think
got
so.
made redundant?
Yeah.
I think he owes
So mistakes were made, certainly.
city of wherever it was. I want to say Boston, I don't know.
I was gonna
but
say,
apparently
yeah.
they loaned
That's right.
them 18 million or something.
So they kept on going. I think it was one of those bizarre
Oh,
things.
really? It
All
just
that-
kept going up. Apparently, they loaned them money to actually finish the project to promote gaming in the city of wherever it was made,
Yes.
Seattle or somewhere.
It was, something like that.
And they just... Was it 38 Studios? Is that what it's called? Studio 38 or something
It was
like that?
great big.
can't remember.
Great
Anyway,
big studios
they
or
killed
something
it,
like
but
that.
they did make a good game. Their
It's a-
only game.
Yeah, and it's a real shame because it was a genuinely, really very, very good game. But then that's something that's published by EA, which is very good, but just a one-off. And then you have those things, and then they're monster games that they just keep knocking out. And I've no idea how many FIFA games there are in total, or how many Madden games there are in total. 20 plus a go, I should think, at least,
Easily.
if not more.
I didn't know that the Bard's Tale was
That's EA.
EA originally.
Yeah,
Apparently that came out in 1984.
originally, the original one.
Yeah, and I did obviously I the ones that came out that we all kind of think of,
Yeah.
which in the last 10 years, I
I
suppose.
guess the much later one where the bard is played by Carrie Elvis.
Is that who it is that does the voice?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realise that was an original game there and published by them either.
Yeah.
Apparently that's got a good cult following, but never
Yeah.
successful.
I was going to say, I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Yeah, never successful profitably, but actually very well received critically.
But you do get there's a great whole host of games of that type, not just by EA, but games that it's not well. Actually, in saying that, something like EA, Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. Oh man, sorry.
No, Harry's going to drift away and slowly
What was that?
finger at the hole in his underpants. Just now that the strip has been made.
Yeah.
But
Easy access. Yeah.
now let's talk about Mirror's Edge briefly. It's something I couldn't get on with it.
Wait a minute.
Point of fact, what?
I can't get over this. He's weirded me out. I didn't think this was going to happen, but he's weirded me out.
How? What did he say?
If I tell you again, it'll be too much for you, and you'll just deflate. And you won't be able to take it. You'll melt like an evil Simon Witch from Oz. You'll just
Right.
melt.
Okay.
Anyway, move on. Just so you know, Harry, you
Thankfully,
win that one.
We're recording this so I can go back and listen for my own pleasure.
Oh man, Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. Now, I didn't get on with it. I hated it.
Yep, I do
Good.
remember you
High
saying.
five. I hate Mirror's Edge.
Yeah. Okay.
You're wrong.
I wanted to love it.
Yeah, same here. I was all ready to go to love that
I
game.
thought
The
this is
idea
different.
behind it was brilliant.
Yeah,
It's a first-person shooter without real shooting.
Yeah.
yeah.
Parkour looked gorgeous. Mechanically, it seemed to be really decent, really good, tight, the whole thing.
Gave me vertigo.
And I just couldn't get on with it.
So,
Could not get on with
what
it.
was it that you couldn't get on with then? If
I
mechanically,
have almost a very basic, simple rule with gaming that sounds,
One button only.
sounds stupid. I have to be able to play it with just my balls.
Yeah.
No, I have a very simple basic rule of gaming. If within the opening 10 minutes, let's say,
okay,
a short period of time, I cannot do something which I'm being asked to do.
right,
Now, in this case, it is the tutorial section.
right,
And fairly early on in this, I'm asked to, I'm sure it's just run along a beam
yeah,
without falling over.
Yep.
Or jump or something like that. And I couldn't do it. And I tried 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And this should be absolute basics. This is just teaching you how to play the game. And if I couldn't master this apparently very simple thing, so it's either the instruction was poor, so that I could not understand what they were asking me to do,
right.
or the mechanic was poor, and even though I was doing what it asked me to do, I was failing at every attempt.
I agree with everything you just said. The one with me, it was the triple jump where I had to bounce off one wall to another wall to another wall to grab a ledge.
Yep,
And that was it. And I literally just couldn't do it.
yep.
I think that kind of game would probably work so much better if you had the option to jump between first person and third.
Yep.
And with third
I
person,
don't think
you
I'd
can
like that.
Well, the thing is,
But
I
just
tried-
for short bursts, perhaps.
Still don't think I'd like that.
if I could do something in first person, I'll always choose that.
Yeah,
You know, I've recently been playing this Sherlock
yeah,
Holmes
yeah.
games that we've been talking about. I didn't know this, but you can actually go into first person in it the whole game, which I didn't realise. I thought it was all third person, and that made it more immersive for me in how I wanted to play it, which makes it so much better for me.
okay.
It doesn't make that much difference to that kind of game, but for the point of something like Mirror's Edge, I think in terms of if you have the ability to see behind the person, well, obviously you have that ability to judge your jump, to do your timing, to keep your balance, whatever you
Yeah.
need to do. I think if they're giving you that option in certain sequences, it would have been cooler. But yes, I think you're right, Harry, it would have ruined the visual look
As
of
long
it.
as it was an optional thing, I think it wouldn't hurt it, just for those that would prefer to play it in third person.
But for
Yeah.
me, that was it.
Okay.
If I can't achieve something at a tutorial level, for whatever reason it is, and I think it must have been just me mistiming at every opportunity,
Right.
at every step, but I couldn't figure it out. If I can't get it at the tutorial section, then I'm going to be boned for the rest of the game,
Yeah.
clearly. So I had to give up. and I really wanted to play it.
Okay.
That game did have such a 50-50 split in the audience of whether you were a fan or not. And I was going to say, with EA obviously looking at it, that's a fairly risky move for them, because I didn't expect to see another Mirror's Edge. I won't lie
I'm
to
so
you.
glad that they were like, we are doing
I think there's enough people for it,
Yeah.
but I just think it's quite a ballsy move, because it is exactly like Simon said. Some people wanted to try it, just couldn't get the mechanic, and it kind of really put them off it,
Yeah.
and that killed it. But obviously some of the people just thought this is perfection and really enjoyed it. But I think that's quite a ballsy move for them to actually do that as
They
a
are
sequel.
banking on nostalgia.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a huge way, because this is a game that was well received critically. Not phenomenal scores. It wasn't like it was sitting in the high
But it
90s
was-
across
it
the
was
board,
still
but it was a
good.
good, solid game. But it didn't sell.
No.
Bottom line, it just didn't really bring in the bucks.
Exactly.
So for them to have done... Oh, it's a big game for them. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of dollar was thrown at this game.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a big AAA... When is this coming out? It's not a
Honestly,
winter release. This is a
I
sort
want
of...
to say May.
Yeah, I mean, it's within
quite
the
soon,
next couple of months.
Yeah.
Because originally it was supposed to be out last week.
Yeah.
That was the
Originally it was. Yeah.
original date for it. But I'm sort of quietly interested, because again, it looks very nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not champing at the bit, tearing at my paper underpants to get into it at
And
this
I
point.
am.
But I know
Oh.
you are. So why? Okay, what is it then about Mirror's Edge that really floated your boat?
Honestly, it was like the first parkour kind of game I played, and I was like, this sounds like a really interesting kind of concept.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd pick it up. And honestly, when I first played the game, I didn't get on with it too well,
Okay.
because I struggled with the whole like, right, I need to be, because I think you could use like the trigger buttons to quickly turn to help you in certain parkour sections.
Maybe.
I
think so,
can't
yeah.
remember.
And so just the whole like control scheme and all this kind of stuff confused me at first. I was like, this is all too much. There's a lot going on, and I just can't be bothered. So I left it for a while and got back to it, because I did have a friend that was like, this game is just fantastic. You really need to try and get into it.
Mm.
And so I sat down, I really tried to get a hold of the mechanics, which I eventually did. I just enjoyed the story of it. I enjoyed the kind of futuristic world where everything just looks so white and pristine. Everything looks clean,
It was all Apple.
pretty much.
Yeah.
But you know that underneath there is a lot of shady stuff going on, and this isn't the nice world that you think it might be.
Yeah.
And just I thought the parkour was really fun and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that game so much that I actually finished it.
Which again is quite the surprise
Oh.
coming from Mr. England.
Yeah, and that was on Xbox 360, and then I eventually got rid of my 360 and moved to PlayStation 3, and I picked it up on there and beat it again. I love that game so much.
That's a twofer.
So I just cannot wait for this new one, because I don't think it's like directly like a sequel.
I thought it was a prequel. oddly
Yeah,
enough.
I think it is, but just giving more information about Faith's sister, which you sort of interact with throughout the first one.
I dare say there'll be a huge swathe of people that just are aware of the game and never picked it up. So it almost doesn't matter if it was.
Oh god, yeah.
This essentially is a soft reboot
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
entire franchise. I dare say they're hoping that this will take off properly,
Yeah.
so they won't have to in another 8 years bring out another sort of sympathy game. Well, it will have sold enough copies to warrant a sequel based on number sales rather than just.
Can you get Mirror's Edge in EA Access?
Not in EA Access, because it'll be on 360 and PS3 and
It's
EA
backwards.
Access.
It's a backwards compatible game though.
It is.
Yeah,
It is
did not
one that's
realise
on
that.
there.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, okay. I might have to try that.
Because I kind of have thinking it's going to be when you get Mirror's Edge this time around, you'll get Mirror's Edge the first one as a kind
Possibly.
of pre-bonus.
Well, I dare say they'll certainly on Xbox One they'll just throw that in as a digital
Yeah.
download. That seems to be the norm. If the game is available as a backwards compatible title, they're just going to throw it in.
They seem to be really depending on that as a kind of two fingers to Sony, don't they?
Oh god, yeah.
Or at least
Which is a
Microsoft
nice little
is.
bonus if you happen to have both machines.
Hell yeah. I agree.
It's a nice little healthy bonus. The games you can pick up for peanuts, but the fact that a lot of people will have gotten rid of their old gen machines now.
2 have upgraded, so yeah.
Yeah,
That's one of the things I was thinking about. I mean, I have a PlayStation, so I can't do this EA access. But it's one of those things that I've looked at that happens to be on that system that wasn't thought up by, well, at least was collaborated with by Microsoft. But that EA's done that. I've actually thought that's actually a really good move.
it's phenomenal
It's
value for
£20,
money.
and then it's what is it? The whole kind of back catalogue
Yeah,
to a degree.
Yeah.
Apart from, say, very new ones, but
That's
a
it.
hell of a lot of EA games of some quality, things like Dragon Age.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, all the FIFAs if I wanted them, all
Yep.
the Maddens.
You got like
NBA.
Battlefield on there, you got UFC on there.
Yeah, I mean that's really good value for money. £20 for a year, and you've got how many would you say is on there? 60 plus?
It's not quite as many as that,
It's not
but
as many
it's
as that.
certainly 30 plus.
Yeah.
Only to grow and get bigger, though.
But it's just going to get bigger.
Yeah. I mean, that's great value.
It's one of those things I don't think they've marketed it enough. Because a lot of people still don't really understand what it is.
They need to get it into shops.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's what they need to do. They
Well, they
won't
did.
market it. So you go into Game or you go into even just something like Sainsbury's or Tesco
Yeah,
or
I think
whatever.
that they do them. Well, I was going to say they've done it on Origin now, haven't they? So
Yeah.
you can obviously just about get it through that. I think that's just a recent thing that's happened.
But Game, by and large, though, a game's not that much cheaper on PC anyway, that it's not as good value for money.
Well, if it's $20 and you can get all those games, I think it's good value wherever it's launched on. I think that's a great deal. I don't think that would be an issue. But yeah, generally you're right. If you're going to buy games through as a digital, then yeah, fair enough. However, I will say this against EA: the EA Origin is a bit pants when you compare it to something like Steam or
See, this is something that is.
Good Old Games or GOG. Or
I'm going to be completely in the dark
Or
on
Origin.
on this side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Just because it's specifically for EA titles.
Well, obviously, yeah, and it's got me titles in that I want to play. Like for example, I bought the Medal of Honor series. It cost me £5,
Yeah,
and it had all the expansions. Perfect, I can play it.
yeah.
But there are a lot of titles on there that you think, God, this is worse than full price in a shop, and you think, why is that? But you know, when they launched Star Wars on there, a lot of people bought it digitally before it launched, so they could pre-download it.
Yeah.
You know, which is one of those things that a lot of people do. And it was like £60 for the game, and then another £45 for the season pass and so on. And they know they've got you by the balls when they're doing it that way,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people will want to pre-down and pre-launch. That's the one side of it I'm not such a fan of. So they kind of punch you with the left and then pat you with the right with EA Access and Origin.
Yeah, because that's one of the things they do with EA Access, like certain upcoming titles that if you buy them through there at the like £60, £55, whatever mark,
Yeah.
chances are you'll get to play it a week early or something like that. Just to really try and get people to hop onto EA Access.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys have Xboxes? Have you actually subscribed to it?
I did at one point.
No, I didn't. I looked at it, certainly, but then I think at the time it was when it first launched.
I suppose there's too many sports titles.
That was the only thing I think I would have been getting it for, essentially, would have been for Battlefield.
Oh, really?
Well, that would have been the only title at that point
Oh, yeah.
I would have
suppose.
had any real interest in playing beyond FIFA at the time, 14 and 15, a couple of Maddens, a couple of NBAs,
Yeah.
Plants v Zombies. Was the first one on there at that point?
It is now.
It is now. Peggle, I think I'd already bought Peggle.
Yeah.
So there was nothing on it at the time, whereas I've now bought Dragon Age, or I had Dragon Age at the time, but that's now on there. But there are now more titles that would make me think, actually, £20, that's probably pretty good, to be honest.
Do you think there's going to be a competitor to that? Someone like Activision,
I doubt it.
you know, going on a PS4 and doing an Activision Access?
It's an odd thing, because I mean, at the beginning, when we were talking about EA, we were talking about the sort of monetarisation of, it seems a bit cheeky when they go down the sort of FIFA annual route and they're asking for this much money. But for someone like you that will perhaps wait to get FIFA when it's reduced,
Yeah.
if you had access to EA Access on the PlayStation, I dare say you would probably snap it up. £20 a year, you know you're going to get every FIFA game for you at some point. You'd just get it 6 months later than everyone else.
Yeah, but, you know, it's always going to drop drastically. That's one of those titles that will drop drastically because it's so regular. And the last year's version for me, when I come to pick it up, it's like £5. It's like nothing. So for me, I don't mind waiting, but yeah, for someone else who plays it kind of religiously and wants it for maybe other parts of the game that I don't play, and I agree with what you just said, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, because for £20 you've got all the titles that you wouldn't normally think about playing, plus the one that you actually were going to invest in.
I suppose the other thing about it is that it might, if you're paying £20 and you find that, let's say I'd never really played a Madden game before, but I found myself really getting into it, or NBA or NHL, I suppose, the hockey games.
Yeah.
Like, there's a number of people that just love those. Seem to be, they never sell massively well, but they're really popular. They just never get huge numbers over here. But they're really good fun. And you might say you pick EA Access up for £20, find yourself really loving NHL,
Yeah.
and then you're prepared to pay £50 when it actually comes out.
Yeah.
So there'll be any number of people that will just pay the £20 a year, and they'll only pay the £20 a year. And there'll be some people that find they're enticed enough to then buy a few more full-price titles. Plus the fact that you get to play the demos early, play the games early, all the add-ons, all the extras, you get a reduced rate.
Yeah.
So if you do play FIFA Ultimate Team, you can buy the gold packs or whatever they are 20% cheaper, I think
it's
it
about
is.
20%.
That's a huge saving if you do fork out for that.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. It is,
And they know-
it is a good move.
In that respect, those people that are buying that, they're buying FIFA anyway for the 50 quid,
Yeah.
Yeah,
whether
absolutely.
it's digitally or whether it's on a disc in a shop. So it's a win-win for them. There are people that fork out the 20 quid for all the bonuses except the games themselves.
Well, we have to ultimately say Ultimate Team is a massive win for them in terms of what it's produced. I mean, they must be raking it in with that.
It's just ridiculous amounts
You
of
know,
money.
I mean, that's an insane amount of money that's coming in through that.
But then the other thing which they rake huge amounts of money is The Sims.
That's
Yeah.
true.
That makes...
And the endless sea of expansions they
Yeah.
do.
Because you get people that... I mean, it's always... It sort of amazes me the number of people that play... That is a game series that seems to sell hugely, and it's a completely different market. So you had FIFA is being sewn up nicely, and it's guys from 15 to 45 that happily play that.
Yeah.
But Sims, youngish girls.
Definitely,
Because it's just dolls' houses, I suppose, in that respect.
Yeah.
absolutely. And then there's how many expansions now for the last one? Got to be about 10, 12.
Well, for Sims 3, there must have been closing on 20, I should think.
Really?
Yeah,
It is
because
a
you had those weird
big
ones,
old
like
cash cow.
Katy Perry.
There was an expansion.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
You know, but then they haunted house, and there were UFOs, and there
Yeah.
were just going to work, and different places to work, and outdoors, and all sorts. There must be 20, I should think, at least.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's quite a popular game on streaming channels as well, YouTube, and
Really?
Twitch. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, watch
Especially-
people doing it. People, again, I'm going to mention people like Tweety Pie play it just to mess about.
Tweety
innit?
Pie.
Tweety Pie? What was I thinking of?
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie. Oh, I'm going to keep the name Tweety Pie then, and just steal some of his thunder. Yeah, someone like Tweety Pie. PewDiePie and there's a guy called Jacksepticeye.
Oh, God, yeah.
They play a lot of that just
Really?
to mess about on it. Yeah, because people just love watching them mess about.
I suppose it's just pissing about with it.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
playing
that's all it
seriously.
is. It's kind of the comedy that it brings. But I will agree with what you say is that, yeah, that is predominantly a game for younger females that play that. But having said that, I've noticed a lot of people on YouTube, males, messing
Yeah,
about
yeah.
in it, playing that. And also, you have to take into account now that female teams are coming into FIFA,
Yep,
which is trying to appeal to female football
of
players.
course, absolutely.
Well
Well done
that's
them.
obviously being, promoted quite a bit and picked up quite a bit because
Yeah.
it's obviously gathering some momentum, which
Yeah.
is good. I don't think you'll ever change who the major sort of buyers of each of those types of games are,
Not really.
but I think it's kind of spreading its wings, both titles,
Yeah.
FIFA
Yeah.
and Sims.
Which is good, because I do like that, because I think when FIFA announced, or EA announced, that it was going to be female football teams available, obviously there was part of me that was thinking, well done them, and part of me thinking this is just a cynical ploy. And it's sort of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other,
Yeah.
I think, isn't it?
I want to think that it's for the benefit of promoting the game and
So do
the
I.
fact that women's football's really got a bit better recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to think of it in terms of someone in marketing's gone, we really could get more money from this doing it this way as well.
Well,
Yeah.
I was also thinking, I mean, certainly that, but also it's just something else they can add into it.
That's
Going
true.
back to that
True.
original point, because I was saying, I think I
True.
said to you, or maybe even both of you before, that the only thing that would really get me into FIFA would be if they introduced something like they had in that Mortal Kombat 10, which was that...
Removable pants.
No. I like that just in general. All pants are removable,
Paper.
unless you're Harry and they're sort of like sellotape to his
Yeah.
crotch. But there's a setting in Mortal Kombat, and I can't think what it's called, where it's like randomization. So you have sort of
Different modifiers and
different
stuff.
mods,
Yeah.
so that you'd be playing FIFA, and there'd just be, let's say, a predator somewhere in the audience.
Right.
And so that at random points, that the sort of red laser would sort of zoom down on one player, and then that guy would be taken out. There'd be just random earthquakes, there'd be a meteor strike, or at random points, a gorilla would just run onto the field and start causing chaos. Just like completely random shit introduced into the game,
Yeah.
just to make it fun, more interesting.
So ruin the beautiful game that I find fun.
Half-time oranges and rocket
launchers.
launchers. Half-time unicorns. Just let loose.
To do what?
Just fucking cause chaos. But remember they did that. It was a couple of years ago. I'm sure it was at the
I've never
Microsoft.
seen any football matches with that unicorn. That's what you said.
No, but this is what I want.
Oh, that's what you
that
want.
would get me to play it, because there was the PGA. I don't know if it's Tiger Woods or whether it would turn into Roy
It was
McIlroy
the-
at that point.
Um,
They did like battlefield golf.
What?
Oh, okay.
There was a shot of people playing golf, like extreme golf, but it would the ball was like bouncing off exploding aircraft carriers,
Okay.
and it was a bit different. It wasn't just boring links golf.
Yeah.
It was just like really sort of bizarre. It was like crazy golf, but on a giant scale.
EA branded Crazy Golf.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it got abandoned or whatever, but they certainly marketed as this was going to be a feature in their new
Okay.
title. It was something they
Was
just
it the
showed off at
Masters?
E3.
Was that
I
the
can't remember
one?
which, but it was on their proper annual PGA
Okay.
golf.
They
I
did
think
have
it
little
got
mini games
abandoned.
in there.
Yeah,
They always used to have mini games in there, and it was just target games.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything very exciting.
but this sort of thing, it was a little bit sort of silly. It was a little bit fun, and that would be more interesting to me. It might make a purchaser of games like me, who would never ordinarily think about buying that type of game,
Yeah.
a little more interesting because it's a little bit irreverent, a little bit fun.
That is a title that I'm surprised is still going. I mean, there's obviously still money in...
Which
Well, not Tiger Woods now. It's now just called...
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised that that's as popular as it is.
Does that not sell hugely in Japan though? Because they do like a game of golf.
Is that a general thing about the Japanese?
Yeah.
They do. They love fish, a bit of sake, but they turn off like a game of golf.
They
Harry.
do.
Oh, I'm telling you.
You think I'm joking?
I'm just going to go and get some Japanese people and ask them.
Yeah, you have a look
I'll be back
after
in
this.
a bit. I'll be back.
It's a big thing.
That's really weird. I just wouldn't imagine it.
Godzilla and golf. That's it. That's all they talk about.
Yeah, they say they quite like it. I'm back now.
No, but seriously,
The Japanese love a game of golf. Yeah. Wow. Just like the Swedes love snooker. You wouldn't believe it.
do they?
Yeah. Mm.
You'll often find the Turks by the hockey.
Yeah.
They love darts.
Do you know anything about a nation, Harry? You have a Russian accent. Do you know anything about the Russians? What do they like?
I don't know. No.
Oh, we almost got something in.
You thought about it briefly.
They like briefs.
They do like briefs, yeah.
Anyway, getting back to Rory McIlroy,
Yep.
I can't see that anywhere other than Japan selling anywhere as well as it does. I see it in the shops, and there's always copies of it there, and there's always, I don't know. I just think of the titles that EA released, that sports titles. Obviously, you've got ones that are obviously not famous, but obviously preferred by a nation. So,
Yep. NASCAR.
you know, NASCAR and NHL and Madden and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there must be a lot of people out there who really still
Look,
like
I mean,
golf.
Tiger Woods has been going for 10 years plus.
But I think
at
that's
least.
sold on how good the game was. I mean, I didn't know anybody who didn't have a copy of Tiger Woods. I thought, everybody's played golf just to mess around once in a while, or pitch and putt, or
Yeah.
crazy golf, and everybody's picked it up and thought, I'll have a go at this, see what it's like. And Tiger Woods was the man at the time. He was super famous. But I don't know, not that Rory McIlroy isn't. I just think that's one of their weaker titles. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, be interested to see whereabouts that sits globally. Because I suppose something like that has more of a global appeal than NASCAR, for instance.
I mean, there's another game you've got to think of. Where can that go in terms of progression?
What?
Rory McIlroy Golf.
Well, none of them. You're just going to change the... You're only going to make
Courses.
the courses, by and large, are going to be the same.
Well, it's always going to be based mainly on the Masters, isn't it? That's what they sell it on, the premise of the Masters golf.
So the courses will look more or less the same. They'll just update the players to change the roster
Yeah.
Okay.
and how old they are, if they've had beards or haircuts or whatever. I mean, there must be female golfers as well. I don't know if that ever...
I'm sure they've had female golfers for ages, though. I don't think
In
it's a
the
new
game.
thing to the PGA
I
games.
suppose it can't be.
I
you
think
just
that's been
don't see
around
them
for a
on the
long time. I
covers.
just don't think any of us ever played as a female golfer.
No.
Anyway, we'll move on from golf. We've had a lot of time on golf.
Yeah, no one plays it apart from the Japs. Not here. Any other
Go on,
sports
Russ.
games you
Go
want to
on,
talk
Harry.
about? Go on, yeah,
The
you.
Russians, they must like something.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know what.
Hacky sack.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I can picture it.
You can picture a Russian's hacky sack.
I can.
You're disgusting.
Not my fault.
It is,
I've
because
just
you see it happening in
I've-
your head.
I've happened to see a few in my time. Okay.
What, Russian hacky sacks?
Yeah.
Some things you learn every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to pause because I need another cup of tea.
Okay.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah. I've got a hair.
Did you? That's a freebie.
There's a hair in my tea.
Dear Liza, dear Liza.
So, getting back to what we were talking about, Harry, what do the Russians like as a sport?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'll find out for you. Just maybe.
That's a no then. I can tell he's getting angry. Pants are going to come off soon.
That's not out of anger, though.
I better keep him angry.
Go on, what are you going to say something about EA?
Yeah, so something I read up, which I've heard people refer to before, but I didn't realise it was an actual thing. Some, I don't even know, company called The Consumerist awarded them with the title of Worst Company in America 2012 and 2013.
I think that's like the equivalent of Which.
Yeah, I'm assuming it must be the
Services.
American equivalent of
I think
that.
that's what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, I've heard this as well.
Because I like, obviously playing Battlefield and stuff, I'd heard people say, oh, EA, they're such a crap company and whatnot, but I didn't realise they were awarded with a title saying, you are terrible. Well done, guys.
Officially.
Yeah.
Well, you have to give this something to base it on. It's the quality of their office life, I guess.
Exactly.
Yes, it's not
yeah,
the quality of
that's what I
their
read.
products. It's not
No.
as if they continually bring out horrendously shit, broken crap that people just keep buying for no particular reason. It is the working environment, I suppose, has been deemed so terrible that they make, certainly towards crunch time,
Yeah.
that the
I guess it's high demands, but the thing is, if you work in that field of game development, we all kind of know, if we know anything about the background of game
Yeah.
development, it's tough.
Yeah.
You work long hours, you work a lot of hours, it's a tough grind, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're always hearing about studios that graft until God knows when and have high demands from the publishers. So to actually then win an award to make that any worse than any other studio, because there's got to be other publishers around the world that make it hard to work for them.
Yeah.
You know, I can think of something like Kojima with the way that they
well,
seem
certainly
to have
Konami had a lot of bad press, negative press,
yeah,
around
how he
that
was
whole,
treated as well.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and the way that they were treated there. So, but to win an award for that, Harry, I mean, that really
Especially
you didn't win the award,
No,
but I mean, they won the award. But
2 years in a row as well.
2 years in a row, yeah,
on
so-
the trot is pretty poor.
Because you'd think a company being awarded something like that, you'd be like, well, crap, we got to change what we're doing so people see us in a positive light
Yep.
and we're not deemed worst company in that regard.
And of course, this can only come to light through someone either leaving there or someone as an informer. I mean,
Yeah.
how else would that come to light?
Well, I believe it originated from, it was the sort of spouses of people that were working, programmers or people working within the company at a
Okay.
relatively low level, that were just being made to work horrendous hours, sort of 7 days a week. And I think one of them had said that, you know, for good behaviour, you could have like Saturday afternoon off
Yeah.
in order to spend some time with your family. But of course, the second you had some time off, all they wanted to do was just sleep and do nothing.
Yeah.
But that coupled with the fact that there was no real sort of monetarisation for working redonkulous overtime.
Yeah.
It was simply that, well, you just need to get this done. You're contracted to do this, and that was it. I think a lot of people within the gaming industry know full well that unless you work for a particular company at a particular level, certainly as far as the games, not the game publishers as such, but the people making the game, manufacturing that product, that you're not going to get necessarily a guaranteed steady paycheck 52 weeks a year, or 12 months a year.
Yeah.
You'll work on this project, and when that project is done, then there's no guarantee you're going to move straight on to the next one. So you're working incredibly stressful hours, and you're being force made to do this because you perhaps know full well that if you don't put this in, you're going to get less of a chance to work on the next game or
Exactly.
a next game the next time around. So they sort of rather got you by the balls. But it wouldn't have done them any favours, certainly. But did it radically affect them? Obviously not enough that they changed enough to do it for the next year.
Yeah,
and won
exactly.
again. Would that have affected sales of FIFA
Not at all.
or Battlefield or NHL or Madden or whatever it might be? People, consumers, are still going to keep buying that product.
We have to kind of also think that this could all be down to maybe one or two studios where it's not so brilliant to work, whereas some places
Sure.
it could be fine.
Yeah.
You have to understand as well that a lot of the companies, a lot of the studios that EA have bought are still the same studios with their own employees that they had before. They just happen to have a parent company now, so they could have
Yeah.
had a perfectly good working environment. I can only think that the constraint comes from time constraints, because exactly
Of
as you
course it
said,
would be.
Simon, annual releases of things are a must for them. That's the bread and butter of what they do. And the more titles they add to it, more sports that are more popular, more shooters that are more popular, competitions against other companies with shooters. I can only see that time constraint getting more and more.
But it's one of those. I suppose that's why you have something like the model that Activision have employed for Call of Duty, where it's now split between 3 companies.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So they have 3 years to work on a game rather than 2 years, or even 1 year in some cases, as it would have been originally. So FIFA is knocked out annually.
Yeah.
I'm assuming by the same whoever it is.
I'd imagine so.
It's
But then again, I
EA
don't-
Canada.
But how much of that is actually changed? I don't know. Obviously,
I don't think it's ever really changed,
Not
apart from maybe a
hugely.
few spin-off ones or a few spin-off titles. I think it's always been in EA
more or less
Canada.
exactly the same.
But I
Whereas,
think that's the biggest studio in the EA catalogue
yeah,
by a long shot. I mean, you've got a brand name like FIFA, which is worldwide massive.
and it has to come out around that point
Yeah.
annually.
Every year, for every country, each country's got its leagues. Every 2 to 4 years, there's obviously a big old tournament, which it has to release for those as well. So
Yes, that's true.
they've got to appease all those things. But for all we know, which part of EA is the worst to work for, we don't know. It could just be EA head office could be dreadful,
Yeah,
but the studios could be fine.
yeah.
We just don't know. Anyway, they didn't win it this year.
No,
Who did win it this year? Does anybody know?
not a clue.
Shall we award it to someone?
Someone.
Let's award it to... I tell you who it'll be. Let's just give it to Konami
I was
for
thinking
being a
the same
bunch
thing.
of
I
dicks.
think. Well, they did that. There was that thing about if you were seen to complain about anything, because they did monitor Facebook. Was it something that someone had made a complaint on Facebook? They didn't make a complaint, but they said working here is shit, basically.
Right.
I don't
And
like
they
golf.
found, yeah. And they found that the next day they were sort of hauled into a superior's office, and then they ended up just working as a cleaner instead
Really?
of whatever their job. Yeah, yeah.
Jesus
It wasn't down to Kojima just constantly sitting in his studio playing with Lego
Just
while
buying
everybody
more and
else
more
was doing work.
outrageous.
And they,
Lego.
oh no, I'm working. We're going to storm the castle. And as his little...
I'm sure there was.
Story
You
unfolding.
can have a little look at that, but there was just sort of the threat of demotion if you said anything even remotely
I did
bad about the parent company.
I did hear some bad things, obviously, when the whole Kojima thing happened. I don't know how much of that is spin by him and his team to kind
There
of
must be a
demote the quality of that company when they leave because they got shoved.
I think there must be a
Shafted
fair amount of
anyway.
that. I don't think, but then Konami didn't seem to do anything sort of in their defence, or is it just that everyone, certainly in the Western press, were just so much on Kojima's side
Yeah.
that that's all they wanted to see? Because there had to have been 2 sides to the story. There had to have been.
I
But
don't
then-
think they could afford the bad publicity with Metal Gear coming out, could they? Really? So they probably
At that time,
couldn't
but that's
do
gone
anything.
now.
But they
What,
still
so you
haven't
think there's going to
said.
be a massive backlash?
But no, they still
No.
haven't said anything. I think they're just going to keep with it. They're just going to keep their mouth shut.
Maybe they just
let
wanted
it
the
blow
Lego.
over.
They made him leave his Lego, and there's a load of executives now just playing with Lego. That's all they wanted.
So Konami head offices are now built entirely of Lego.
Yeah.
They worked there enough so that they could just build an
What?
entire office block.
Office of Lego.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what a lot of the money went on. Just him getting new sets of Lego come through.
Lego's expensive,
Exactly.
so
That's about half the money on Metal Gear went, though, as we discussed.
I'd love to work in a Lego office.
Be the worst though. Standing on it all the time.
We'll just replace it.
I guess.
Or your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll become like a Lego man from the feet up.
If that's what you want,
Well,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Some Lego pants.
do some of those.
Yeah. You could do with some bulletproof pants if you're around Simon.
I'll fit you for a pair of Lego pants a little bit later.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's end it on that.
So it's good night from me and a pair of Lego pants from young Harry.
In the post to Harry,
No, in the post. No.
in a Lego envelope.
Measure me up now.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel a bit sick when you said that. I know Simon feels elated and he wants us to go home so he can have a moment. Or he just wants me to go
One
home.
of you.
Yeah. I feel queasy. I might have a little bit of sick, Harry. That's twice you've weirded me out in one episode. What's happened? So innocent from the first episode and now
It turned.
worse than the both of us combined.
It's those hot tub experiences.
It's all those glasses of hot brown.
Changed me for the better, I like to say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't like evil Harry. Scary. Anyway, let's give that award away from EA to
Congratulations, Konami.
You're a bunch of arse.
So welcome back to the random video game name generator name game.
Yep.
I'm sure that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
you've got the
almost-
whole name in there in the wrong order or right order, we just don't know.
I'm almost 90% that's wrong. Harry's going first.
Yep.
Planet of the Makeover of the Deep.
Wow.
You have 60 seconds to sell us. Go.
This is a pretty straightforward game. Essentially,
No, it isn't.
Oh,
That
it
is
really
a lie.
is. Oh, no.
Bluff.
No, it is a top-down roguelike game. So
Okay.
it's always randomly generated whenever you enter into the game.
Oh, procedural.
Yeah, and once you land on this planet, you've got to pull out your amazing makeup set
Oh, I thought I was going to say something else then. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
and proceed to hurl it into the deep, into the sea, and just give that wonderful aquatic life the most beautiful makeover you can.
So you're going to throw toxic makeup products into the sea
Yeah,
to give a makeover to the world of the sea life.
exactly. And then you get like XP for each fish you can successfully make over. And you can use that to get some different makeup products and more powerful makeup.
I'm gonna. Well, your minute's up, but
I don't know if I'm not completely sold on that.
What?
I'm gonna give you 50p to buy some lipstick to go down the fishmongers and do a test,
Yeah.
and then we'll see whether we'll invest.
If the fish is happier once it's smothered in
It will look happier.
L'Oreal.
But it's got to mean it. I want to see that fish with feeling.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
You've got to revive it because it's dead, by the way. It's at fishmongers.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Right, Tom.
Yeah, do I have to? Go on.
Yep. For you, this is perfect. Perfect. Ready?
Yeah.
Advanced Leisure Suit Trilogy.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously it's based on Larry, my favourite,
Of
Larry
course.
Laffer. Advanced Leisure Suit Trilogy.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, this time he's got jetpacks.
Okay.
It's it's a Frogger game, but you need to get to Lapland because you assume that there's lots of strip clubs there, but you use a jetpack to jump from reindeer to reindeer that are crossing a nice stream in Lapland. That's the Frogger element.
Right.
And the pervy side of it is that you've got a dirty old man called Santa Claus, and he's gonna give you all the presents you want because you think you're going to Lapland for a lap dance. There you go. You can ignore that one. Bin that.
You had seconds to spare to say that.
I could have had about 59 seconds to spare because I couldn't think what the fuck to say to that.
Oh, I thought that was made for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so size one is Children of the Fun Noodle from Planet X.
I have almost literally no idea where to go with this one. I suppose this is going to be... it would be one of the... I can't know what you call it. A bit like The Long Dark, so it's a sort of survival game. So you're on... Is it you're on Planet X?
You're on... Well, it says the Children of the Fun Noodle are from Planet X. So it's up to you.
Okay, so we're on Planet X.
Okay.
I think we're on Planet X, and you play as one of 7 children of the Fun Noodle. This is a religious cult,
Okay.
specifically on Planet X. We are trying to convert all the local wildlife to the Fun Noodle ministry.
Yeah.
And you have to survive in the wilderness originally, so you have to gather as many noodles as possible. Hot noodles, pot noodles, super noodles, etc. Boil water to make sure that your noodles are hot to help you survive those cold winter nights on Planet X.
Now time.
Oh,
And this
then get to the game.
yeah, I was going to say, you're going to feed these noodles to the animals to convert them.
That's how it would work, yeah.
Okay, so you want to feed pot noodles to animals.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's obvious.
As long as you do it on another planet, Planet X, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a season pass?
No.
Good man. Round
I'm
of applause for
disappointed.
that. Really?
Yeah, I'd want a season pass.
And what would you want in it?
Different flavoured noodles. You didn't say what flavours they were.
Oh, he's onto something.
Are
there.
they all just plain noodles?
Yeah, you see. I mean,
Yeah, they're
how many
all-
pot noodle flavours are there?
There's chicken and mushroom. That's all there is.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. So yeah,
That's
Harry,
nice.
you're right. We want more flavours.
I want more flavours.
How
No,
much
in,
would you-
in the game, it's only chicken and mushroom.
Disappointed.
What, for every flavour? Even
All
just-
the noodles, they're
Oh,
just
chicken
chicken and
and
mushroom. Yeah,
I'm disappointed.
What would
quite
you feed the
frankly.
chickens?
just the mushroom bit.
I can't say fairer than that. Good. All right then.
Brilliant.
Surely that's obvious.
Should have expected it.
Right. Young England
Yep.
is going to take it away with... no, he's not going to take it away with that one. I don't think that one's a good
Oh,
either, to
man.
be honest. No, that's rubbish. No, there we go. This is something far more up your street. Phoenix Wright, Sailor Shack.
Sailor Shack.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you're playing as Phoenix Wright in his newest dramatic experience. Crimes are happening over the seas,
Yep.
and so you get approached by a mysterious sailor who says that some horrible murder has occurred.
Oh.
So obviously, you go off to try and solve that, but you realise Phoenix Wright didn't realise that he didn't want to be an ace attorney. He wanted to live out in the seas with his new sailor mate.
Shack up with a sailor.
Shack up with a sailor mate. And so this is a old think of like a farming simulator type game. And so it's you and your sailor buddy trying to survive out in the sticks. There's like social elements to it, so you can get closer to him, become like best friends for life, like me and you, Tom. Don't forget. And it's just
I'm so glad that time went on. So you want to take the best elements of Phoenix Wright
because it starts off like a normal Phoenix Wright game.
and remove them.
At a
and
point,
turn it
they get
into
removed.
A dating simulator for an attorney and some sailors.
A sailor.
All right.
There's only one.
no monogamy.
There are other sailors that you can interact
They'll be in the
with.
season pass. You can expand it for that. More
Oh, yeah.
sailors.
More
you
sailors.
said that very like.
Yeah.
Mm.
You can't stop it
It
now.
can't. No. Too many hot browns. Too many glasses of hot brown.
And it's just I really want to pull these trousers off.
On that note,
Well, you get, Tom, for
Mm.
1 minute, cross-dressing surgery mania.
Oh, I love it.
my God. This is a first-person shooter. It's made by EA.
Of course.
And it's basically, rather than having normal guns or anything like that, you have drills, scalpel gun. You have because there are scalpel guns. You basically have
Don't want to go to your hospital.
you have a tourniquet catapult, and the idea is that you just capture
I've switched it.
as many cross-dressers as possible, but you don't kill them because that would be unfair. They just join your team, and then you go after more cross-dressers, and the more you get, the bigger your team gets, and that's it. That was the worst.
Did you have time? You still got time to
I
spare.
still have time.
Save it. Save it.
There's a season pass. It's 50 quid.
Oh, you fumbled it.
Oh, all right. I couldn't remember the rest of the title, and then you went and changed it on me.
I just liked the name of that. The game itself.
I liked the name of it, but I couldn't remember. No, I liked the game, but I couldn't remember the name, so I had the reverse effect.
He's got it.
So the name of your game is
Here we go.
National Lampoon's Sword Detective.
National Lampoon's Sword Detective.
Sword Detective.
So obviously this is a medieval whodunit.
Okay.
So it's not unlike sort of Sherlock Holmes' Crimes and Punishment,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's sort of set in England in the 1300s.
Yeah.
Let's say. What was the
What,
just remind me the
1
title again?
National Lampoon's Sword Detective.
About 1 o'clock then.
Yeah, about 1 o'clock. Medieval 1 o'clock.
1300.
That sort of time. So you have to work out who killed the Earl of lampoon.
Sachevius Chase.
Sachevius Chase.
Yeah,
He
good.
finally he was found with a golf club stuffed up his arse.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah. Was it someone from Japan?
yeah.
Okay, that's it, yeah. Wow.
Kind of giving the game away a little bit. That's the plot, and that's the twist at the end. Oh dear.
I'd have to say, of all of them, that's my favourite.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, because I wasn't expecting that plot twist.
No.
And I don't think Sachevius Chase was expecting it either. Oh, man. Wow. So, 1300s,
Yeah.
1 o'clock,
Yep.
Sachevius Chase is going to experience a murder like no other. A golf club bing. Can you call it a golf clubbing?
Yeah.
It's not really clubbing, it's...
Insert.
I mean, he's a novelty cover, I'll give him that,
yeah.
for the golf club.
That's my favourite. That's a good.
Right, we'll have another quick round.
Oh, alright.
Harry.
Yep.
Topsy-turvy hamster attack.
Oh man. Think of Super Monkey Ball.
Yep.
Okay.
I knew you were going there.
Yeah. But with hamsters.
Okay.
Hamsters subjected to
Torture.
hardcore drugs.
Okay.
Hence the topsy-turvy element, because they
Okay.
have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Does that affect the controls?
Yeah.
Good.
Because there's just colours everywhere, but in terms of the controls, there's going to be like a little compartment in the controller. It's going to come with it, so it's going to be a bit expensive,
Peripheral.
where it just distributes numerous different types of drugs to the player, so you can kind of experience it with the hamster. And it's
Okay.
the most topsiest, turviest experience of them all. And this is going to have a season pass, of course, that adds more drugs.
A minute on the nose.
Oh, that's really good.
He did well.
I'm almost tempted to not go for the Chevy Chase one now,
Yeah.
because I like the distribution of drugs, generally.
There's there's going to be a lot of work going into like the facial expressions of the hamsters, because they're having a grand old
Ultimately,
time.
what you want in the season pass is that it distributes so many drugs that you just take the drugs, you don't even switch the game on, and you think you're in the game.
Yeah.
And then you've just got to release a drug every year, Harry. Or like every 3 months, like a map pack, but it's a drug pack. I think I like that game.
Yeah.
Just to say, we're not trying to say take drugs, okay?
No.
Just so people know.
Unless there are hamsters in the room.
No. Take
Only if there are hamsters. Yeah, just take
Get your
hamsters.
hamster. Get your hamster to take the drugs.
Yeah,
and then
that-
take a hamster.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Because that takes the edge off it. If you soak the hamster in some sort of drug, wait till it's off its tits, and then just wring the hamster just over your mouth just to get a few little drips.
Just mop your brow for a bit. It'll transfer somehow.
That's true. Yeah, use it as a little, a little
like
flannel.
A little flannel.
Yeah.
Flannel. Flamel. Flamster. A flamster. Oh man, that's your peripheral. When you sell this game, get a free flamster. I want a drug-induced flamster now.
Can you be my design partner on this then?
Yeah, but I'll have to do it from prison. Because I think that's where we're going.
Flamster. That is the greatest name ever
Yeah.
for anything.
Pay me in drugs, I don't mind. That wins it, Harry. That was good.
I think so. The Flamster.
Oh,
Well,
man.
you guys
slam
have still got
dunk.
another go.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can top any of that.
Oh, you can certainly try.
He's going to have a crack.
He's not letting me get away with it, is he?
No, sorry. And yours, disappointingly, is Rise of the Puppy Spectacular.
Oh, this is a sequel
Okay,
to the Flamster game,
right.
Rise of the Puppy, but in this case it's just how far you can fire a little puppy into the air, and
Right,
that's the Rise.
right,
But this is actually a physical and digital game.
right, okay.
The video game bit that you get is a peripheral that plugs into your PS2, and it's an altimeter
Right,
shaped like a cat with a grin on it that looks up whenever the puppy gets fired with a smile, and
Right.
it goes meow. And the puppy you launch yourself, just throw it, lob it.
yeah, yeah.
But it's full of drugs. So the puppy won't mind. Because it'll just think, well, it's the same up here as it is down there, and I'm on drugs, so I don't mind. But yeah, it's the sequel to Flamster. I'll call it Puppy Level 5. Why not?
I thought you were going to say it was you stuffed the puppy with fireworks. That was going to be the spectacular part of it.
No, the drugs is enough.
Fair enough.
Because that'll take the fun out of lobbing it. Who doesn't want to lob a puppy? Yeah, the timer really says stop talking, Tom. So I'll stop talking. These aren't... The only thing I had with video games was there was a peripheral that you plugged into your PS2.
Shaped like a cat.
Yeah, an altimeter. Which is absolutely useless. Because the altimeter's supposed to go where you go if you move, to give you the depth of what's happening.
Yeah, we got the idea, though.
Yeah, but I'm attaching it to a PS2 and leaving it on the floor, so it doesn't matter how high you throw the puppy, the altimeter's still going to say 0.
It just gauges it. It just guesses. Just randomly guesses.
Just kick the PS2.
The cat doesn't care.
Well, it seems that we have another one that's a little bit animal focused.
There we go.
So the name of your game is Dwarven Gopher Experience.
A Dwarven Gopher Experience. This is going to be a Sony VR launch title, and it's one of those sort of just a day in the life of. So you are in a gopher hole. I don't know what you call it really. What do gophers live in?
Oh.
A set,
Yeah.
but that just a network of gopher tunnels. But unfortunately, you play a stunted dwarven gopher, so just a little one.
So even smaller than a normal
Regular one. It's all sort of gnarled up and like half-sized legs and tiny little head.
Okay.
And it just travels about.
Just travels about.
Travel
about. Gets on the bus.
That's all it does.
Travels about.
And its ultimate dream of becoming a flamster.
Yeah.
That's what it wants, because of its size, it kind of looks like a hamster because it's sort of short and stunted. And the idea is to try and make your way to. I was going to say you make your way.
No, you can't.
No, I want to hear it now.
No,
you
you
can't.
You
Time's
want
up,
to
I'm
get to the
afraid.
big city in order to make your way into Tom Evans Towers, specifically, to have drugs pumped into you so that you can be molested and
as a
grabbed
loofah.
round the body and used as a loofah.
What a dream.
But it never makes it, unfortunately.
So that you've given the ending away.
Yeah,
So I don't have to play this game.
I wouldn't
That's the
recommend
second
it.
game.
You wouldn't recommend it.
No,
Second game you've revealed the ending to.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
or have I? Maybe there's another twist.
Ooh.
They're going to talk about this for years. The twist at the end of Luther Gopher was phenomenal. It changed my life.
Well, I'm still saying National Lampoon Chevy Chase with the golf club up his arse is my favourite.
I know Flamster wins it.
I think Flamster wins it for me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the winner. Although Sir Chever's Chase was close.
And it's that time.
He's just showing off now.
You know, what?
Let it free.
you know hundreds of thousands?
Yeah.
Those
I don't have any.
sprinkles, as they call them.
Yeah.
It's like one of those trying to fight its way between two green peas.
Oh yeah.
You noticed that? And
That's
why is
bizarre.
it frozen?
And they're green.
And frozen.
That's just the look I go for. Okay.
Did you put your frozen cod piece on?
Oh god, yeah.
Or did you just get a piece of cod out and put that on? I've told you the difference so many times, Harry.
I'll put
One's a piece of cod and one's a cod
I'll
piece.
put a piece of cod in the cod piece.
If he's trying to impress you,
Well, I don't
that's
like
your,
fish.
That's
I'm
your
not fit-
Achilles heel.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
What, not even strapped to Harry?
No.
I've been doing it wrong. Shit. Well, the cod's going.
Good, because it stinks.
All right then.
Yeah, who's signing off?
Uh,
The drug mule Flamster. That is Harry. He can sign off.
go on then.
Fuck off.
You're the face of Pampers for men.
That's the only reason I'm here.
It's to stand
That's
there
the
like
dream.
that. But you wear like 4 pairs in one go. Have enormous marshmallow around you. And you're the face of enormous marshmallows. but you
Fuck
wear them
yeah.
exactly where you wear your Pampers. It's Pampers full of marshmallows, and you occasionally walk along and go, marshmallows.
Don't like the idea of that. Just reaching into my Pampers and pulling out a marshmallow and chowing down on it.
That should be the name of this podcast. Reach into my Pampers and pull out a marshmallow. That's amazing. That's the best thing I've ever heard you say.